Let's quickly go back on time. On March 9th, just 1 month ago, you would have opened up your app if you're in HIMS and you would have seen a 46% increase in a single day. That is not a meme stock pump and dump. That is a company that just announced a deal so big that Wall Street collectively lost its mind. And at the same time, Eli Lilly is watching its brand new, freshly FDA approved weight loss pill get dunked on before it even starts shipping. Welcome to the weight loss pill war. So by the end of today's video, you're gonna understand 3 very clear things. What the HIMS and Novo partnership actually is and why it changed everything. Why Eli Lilly's brand new weight loss pill, despite a record-breaking FDA approval, is already losing on efficacy, tolerability, and distribution. And the third thing is what this means for investors holding HIMS, Novo, and Lilly going into the rest of 2026. Let's get into it.
Welcome to the game, it's the instant stocks by Mikhail Kuhar.
But before we do, there's one thing I want to speak to you guys about. Here at X10 Day Trade, we have built a software that allows our professional traders to trade for you. You don't ever have to send us money. The software allows the signals to go directly into your portfolio account, completely hands off. For someone like myself who spends a lot of time in his years in Australia and Bali, it allows me to access the US stock market while I go to sleep, done completely hands off. I just wake up and see the profits in the morning. So if you don't have the time, the skills, or just the desire to stare at screens all day, this could be something exactly for you. And these are our results here. Since September, we have had over 25% returns, realized profits in your account. That is more than 5 times the returns than what the NASDAQ has given investors since September. So if you want to find out how our professional team of traders can trade for you without you staring at screens all day. Also, we have a 100% money back guarantee as long as you have $10,000 US to start, because you need that in your portfolio account so you can access the trades. Without further ado, if you want to find out more, there's a link below or go to x10daytrade.com. Let's get stuck into today's video. So a quick high-level recap on what we've been looking at over the last 6 and 12 months. Hims & Hers is a telehealth platform where they offer doctor consultation, prescription delivery, all from your couch, just from your phone. It started with hair loss and erectile dysfunction medication, and then it expanded into mental health, skincare, and weight loss. By the end of 2025, 2.5 million active subscribers, 2.35 billion in revenue, up 59% year over year. In May 2024, Hims started selling compounded semaglutide at a fraction of Wegovy's $1,500 per month price. This was legal. Semaglutide was on the FDA's official shortage list, meaning demand was essentially vertical. People who desperately wanted weight loss medication could not afford Wegovy, suddenly had a physician-supervised, delivered to your door alternative for a fraction of the cost. Now, the weight loss business alone was on track to generate $725 million in 2025 revenue from a standing start in May 2024. That's massive. Now, Novo was not happy. They sued, they threatened regulatory action, they called Hims a reckless peddler of fake medicine. A first partnership attempt in spring 2025 lasted exactly 8 weeks before Novo terminated. I think that's about the same time my first ever relationship lasted, when I was in year 7 or year 8 at school. Now, Hims then tried to launch a $49 knockoff of Novo's brand new oral Wegovy pill. There was a lot of speculation around this, right? Novo was not stoked about this. And then March 9th, 2026, everything flipped. Hims and Novo announced a real partnership. Hims sells actual branded Wegovy, including the oral pill, starting at $149 per month. Hims stops promoting compounded GLP-1s. Novo drops the lawsuit. Hims stock surges 46% in a single session, and the Wall Street Journal calls it a tectonic shift in the weight loss drug market. Hard to argue with that. So that's the full recap. Now let's get into the video. So I want to show you this before we go any further, because when you see this, the story laid out on a timeline, it looks like a bit of a Netflix drama. 7 events under 2 years, each one wilder than the last. Now, the green dot on May 2024 on the left-hand side here, Hims launches its cheap compounded semaglutide, and then the machine starts. We look at the next one over June 2025, Novo ends the first partnership after 8 weeks. The blue dot, August 2025, Lilly drops its phase 3 results. The pill race is officially on. We then move on to December 2025. The FDA approves the oral Wegovy pill. Novo gets there first. The orange dot is February 2026. Hims tries to launch a $49 knockoff, and Novo goes nuclear on that. March 9th, 2026, Partnership 2.0. Hims is up 46% overnight, and the feud becomes a friendship. The last part, April 1st, 2026, FDA approves Foundayo, Lilly's pill, the fastest approval in modern FDA history. So here is what I want you to notice. Every time something went wrong for Hims, and there was a lot of things that went wrong, like we can't argue that, they came out the other side stronger than before. That arc is what the bull case is built on. That is a terminology we refer to as anti-fragility, meaning the more stress something comes under, the stronger it then becomes. Now, before we talk about who is winning, you need to understand what each pill actually is. Now, the Wegovy pill was approved December in 2025, the end of December. It takes Novo's existing semaglutide, the same molecule in Ozempic, an injectable Wegovy, and puts it into a pill form. The one catch, you take it first thing in the morning on an empty stomach with a small amount of water. Then wait 30 minutes before eating anything. It's not complicated, but it is a routine. Now, in the flagship Oasis 4 trial, patients on the highest dose lost over 13% of body weight. I think it was about 13.5, 13.6 body weight over 64 weeks. Now, for a 200-pound person, that is 27 to 33 pounds. By April 2026, 600,000 patients already on it. Blistering pace for a brand new product. Now, Lilly's pill Foundayo, I might be pronouncing that the Aussie way. I'll see later on when I check it. Now, this was approved April 1st, 2026. Different molecule entirely, orforglipron, a small molecule that survives digestion on its own. Unlike semaglutide, which requires special chemistry and an empty stomach to absorb properly, orforglipron passes through the gut wall intact, regardless of what you have eaten or when. Lilly's big selling point, take it any time of day with any food, no restrictions. And it can be with or without food. No alarm, no 30-minute fasting window, no logical gymnastics. You just take a pill whenever. Now, when we look at the ATTAIN-1 trial, 3,127 adults with obesity, no diabetes, showed 12.4% body weight loss at the highest dose over 72 weeks. And Lilly also has a massive manufacturing advantage. Small molecules are cheaper and easier to produce at scale than peptides. Now, CEO Dave Ricks specifically highlighted that Foundayo could launch globally from day one, something the Wegovy pill cannot match on manufacturing volume. Lilly has approval plans in more than 40 countries, genuinely compelling for long-term investors. And the FDA clearance, 50 days after filing, was the fastest approval of a new molecule entity in modern history. Now, it's genuinely impressive on paper and a big win for the company. But if we look closely at the details, and a concerning pattern starts to emerge. So things might get a little bit uncomfortable for Lilly. On April 2nd, one day after Foundayo was approved, Novo published a study called Orion. The timing, not a coincidence. Orion compared the two bills using data from both phase 3 trials. The result? Oral Wegovy produced 3.2 percentage points more weight loss than Foundayo, statistically significant, peer-reviewed. For a 200-pound person, that is 6 pounds extra of fat loss. It also gets worse on the side effect front. Patients on Foundayo were roughly 14 times more likely to stop treatment due to gastro side effects or gastrointestinal side effects. 14 times. Yes, the confidence interval is wide, but even on the lower end of that range, that is a very meaningful gap in a drug class already known for its nausea and GI issues. Now, if your pill causes significantly more of it than the competitor, patients will quit. And patients who quit do not lose weight, and they are not coming back to that pill anytime soon. And then we look at the cardiovascular gap. Novo has years of real-world cardiac evidence from the SELECT trial. Now, going off their studies, injectable Wegovy significantly reduces the risk of heart attacks and strokes. The Wegovy pill carries that same label benefit, the same molecule. Foundayo has zero comparable cardiovascular data yet. Any cardiologist prescribing a weight loss pill to a 55-year-old heart patient picks the one with proven cardiac protection every single time. Now, to be fair, Lilly has real arguments. The no fasting dosing flexibility is genuinely meaningful for some patients. Now, at $149 per month for the starter dose, Foundayo matches Wegovy exactly. And in an ACHIEVE-3 diabetes trial, Foundayo actually outperformed oral semaglutide on blood sugar control. But the reality is this: Wegovy's pill had 600,000 patients on it before Foundayo shipped a single unit. In a market driven by physician habits and patient word of mouth, first mover advantage is very, very real. All right, so if we look at this chart here, Lilly does not want you to look at too closely. Now, there's two clusters of bars here. Green is Wegovy and the blue is Foundayo. So if we look on the left-hand side, you have Wegovy at 13.6 and Foundayo at 12.4%. So you can see Wegovy 1.2% above that. Now, on the right-hand side, this is the completer analysis. Patients who stuck with the drug for the full trial, the Wegovy had a 16.6% and Foundayo still 12.4%. Now, you can see here the clinically meaningful threshold at 5%. Both drugs clear it massively. Both drugs genuinely work, but look at how much higher the green bars are. That gap is what the Orion study confirmed at 3.2 percentage points, statistically significant, and that's peer-reviewed. And here is what matters most for HIMSS investors. The drug winning this chart is the HIMSS drug that is the official distribution partner for. Now, better efficacy means better outcomes. Better outcomes means lower churn. Lower churn means higher lifetime value per subscriber. That is what the Novo partnership is actually worth for HIMSS right now. So in pharma, having a great drug is table stakes. The companies that win are the ones that get their drug in front of the most patients the fastest. And this is where the HIMSS Novo partnership is one of the most strategically brilliant moves I personally believe right now. HIMSS has 2.5 million active subs, right? Already comfortable ordering healthcare online, already comfortable receiving medications by mail, already accustomed to paying cash rather than navigating prior authorizations and insurance paperwork. And only 25% of HIMSS GLP-1 customers had discontinued after 6 months use, versus an industry-wide dropout rate of around 80% at the same time point. These are sticky customers who genuinely trust the platform with their healthcare. When Novo partnered with HIMSS in March 2026, it gained a 2.5 million person megaphone overnight. People who have already proven that they will pay cash for medication they believe in. Now, demographically, exactly the patients obesity medicine doctors want to reach. Andrew Dudum, HIMSS CEO, said publicly the goal is to make HIMSS the largest global consumer health platform for affordable, approved medications. Now, Novo's bet is that he delivers on that. Now compare that to Lilly. Lilly Direct is a clean platform. It takes prescriptions and ships medications, but it is just essentially a fulfillment, a pharmacy. It does not have 2.5 million subscribers with existing health profiles and payment information on file. It does not have a clinical AI personalizing treatment protocols for each patient. It does not have a physician network already embedded in the experience. Now, when Foundayo launched April 6th, it launched through Lilly Direct, a channel most Americans have never heard of. Retail pharmacies coming shortly after. Telehealth partners also coming shortly after. Now, on launch day, Foundayo's most powerful distribution advantages were all in the future, while Wegovy was already sitting in 600,000 medicine cabinets. The prescription math that makes this painfully concrete, Jefferies estimated Foundayo needs 5.4 million prescriptions between April and December 2026 just to hit its 1.7 billion revenue consensus. Now, UBS pegged the target at around 6 million prescriptions for a $2 billion year. For context, injectable Zepbound, Lilly's established product with years of brand recognition and familiarity in the space from doctors and physicians, generated 6.4 million prescriptions in its entire first year, hitting similar numbers with a brand new product against a rival with superior clinical data and a dominant telehealth partner. That's a very steep hill for them to climb. So the difference here is HIMSS has a machine already running at full speed. Now, Lilly has a plan. They have a frame they're moving towards. And honestly, the most telling thing is the fact that Novo Nordisk, a $500 billion pharmaceutical company, looked at what HIMSS had built and decided to partner with it rather than compete against it. That is a massive signal. So let's look at pricing across different tiers right now. 4 dose tiers. Green is Wegovy, blue is Foundayo. Now, tier 1, the starter dose. Both pills, $149 per month, dead even. Now, both companies agreed to that number as part of deals with the Trump administration in November 2025. With insurance savings cards, both can drop to $25 per month. Now, the second tier here, Wegovy starts at $149, Foundayo jumps to $199. The bars start to diverge a little bit. Now, tier 3 and 4, we're looking at $299, which is the same, and then we come up to the highest dose of $349 compared to $299. So the bottom line with looking at just this is the entry level is even. As patients escalate, which most do, Foundayo runs slightly more expensive. Not a deal breaker, but one more data point tilting towards Wegovy. Now, what does all of this mean for each stock? For Hims, this is looking really good. The company went from existential regulatory risk to becoming the authorized distributor for the leading oral weight loss medication in America. The March 9 partnership essentially solved Hims' biggest problem in one announcement. What happens when compounded GLP-1s go away? The answer, as it turns out, is that you become the most important distributor partner for the branded version instead. 2.7 to 2.9 billion in 2026 revenue guidance. Over 20% of subscribers now on multi-condition personalized plans, getting stickier, not more transactional. Eucalyptus acquisition adding international scale across Australia and the UK, where branded GLP-1s are already the only option and the Jupiter and Pilot brands are already profitable on that model. Now, the risks are real. Novo could terminate again. Telehealth regulation is never fully predictable, and the SEC investigation adds uncertainty. But the direction is the most bullish it has been in quite a while. Now, the Hims partnership is a distribution win, but Novo traded average selling price for volume by letting Hims sell Wegovy at affordable cash pay prices. Novo is accepting lower ASPs in exchange for reaching a subscriber base it could not build itself. Whether that trade-off is value assertive depends on how fast Hims converts its 2.5 million subs into Wegovy pill customers and how sustainably it retains them. Now, the Orion data is a meaningful competitive moat, but Novo will need to defend it vigorously as Lilly's marketing machine starts to fire up. Now, the Lilly side of things, Foundayo faces a real uphill battle despite the landmark approval it got through. Jefferies cut the 2026 revenue estimate from around $4 billion down to $1.6 in the weeks leading up to the approval. Lower efficacy data, later launch, higher discontinuation rate, no cardiovascular outcomes evidence yet. Now, Lilly's saving grace is that it genuinely does not need Foundayo to win to be a great company. Mounjaro and Zepbound are expected to generate enormous revenue through 2030 and beyond. Now, Foundayo is more of a market expansion play and a hedge against injectable generic copies than a core revenue driver. But investors who bought Lilly specifically for Foundayo excitement, the early evidence is sobering. Now, let's recap everything because we've gone pretty deep on a few different angles and different layers of this. Novo has the better pill. More weight loss, better tolerability, stronger cardiovascular evidence, longer real-world safety track record. And Novo is winning the distribution game. 600,000 patients already on oral Wegovy, plugged into the Hims platform with 2.5 million subs behind it. Hims has turned what looked like an existential crisis into one of the biggest strategic advantages ever for now. The go-to platform for affordable, accessible, FDA-approved weight loss medication in America. Now, Lilly has a great drug, a record-breaking approval, and enough financial firepower to compete for years, but it is playing catch-up on efficacy, on distribution, and on first-mover momentum. So the weight loss pill war is just beginning. The oral GLP-1 market could be worth tens of billions annually within 5 years. A real head-to-head trial between these two pills could flip the narrative if Lilly's dosing flexibility drives a better real-world adherence and stickiness and usability. But as of today, right now, based on the science that exists, the distribution infrastructure that is actually built, Novo and Hims are ahead, and Lilly is playing catch-up. Now, in a $300 billion battle for America's belly fat, that scoreboard matters. As always, this is not financial advice. These are numbers for you to take into consideration, whether you're in Novo, whether you're in Lilly, whether you're invested in Hims. These are some important metrics to understand going into 2026, and especially for Hims coming into their Q1's earnings report. As always, my name is Mikkel, and I'm making videos here for you every single day. So if you want to know what's happening right now in Hims and what that could look like in the future, subscribe, come back tomorrow because I will see you in a video again tomorrow.